Hello, hello. I am so happy that you're here. I had planned to go live, but rural internet being what it is, this is pre-recorded. So even though we're not live, I absolutely appreciate your engagement. If you have any questions or comments, please do leave them and I will be certain to pop in there and get back to you. Okay, so I'm going to kick off this series by answering a question that I get from prospective clients all the time. But first, I want to start by giving just a tiny little bit about me and how I ended up talking about impact-driven business in the first place. So I am Michelle Fishering, the founder and CEO of Maven Impact Consulting. I spent nearly 15 years running operations for small businesses in the luxury fine wine industry. During that time, I consistently worked for people who talked about having a big impact, but weren't really walking the walk. So the people I worked for kind of fell into two different camps. Like the first camp was, those were the good people who wanted to do more. I mean, they were like good human beings, right? They wanted to do more, but they really focused on the wrong things and diluted their ability to create that impact and create like lasting positive good beyond just, building their bottom line. So I was trying to say that very diplomatically. So yeah, they just, because of where their focus was and what the practices that they implemented in the business, I just consistently saw this like dilution of like, we want to do good. We're trying to do good. We say we were doing good, but really the bottom line was really the only thing that was benefiting. And then the second camp of people that I worked for and during that time were the not so good people who were engaged in really exploitive practices. Well, really exploitive and extractive. So they exploited people and they were really extractive with the environment. And they did that and really sort of had this like, they were really trying to finance really lavish lifestyles. So they lived these really lavish lifestyles at the expense of the people who worked for them, their vendors, their partners, the planet. So really not great. Unfortunately, the end result was more or less the same. It looked like team members burning out and high turnover, tense relationship with vendors, suppliers, partners, all of the above. Really unhealthy company cultures on both sides. Weak leadership, sometimes non-existent leadership. Consistently like compromising values for convenience. A lack of focus. These, no matter which side of that spectrum the people I was working with fell on, it was like this constantly shifting goals and really incoherent strategy. And then it often led to, we often had these really transactional customer relationships. So the customers were a means to an end, which was, to sell more. And I was so closely connected to the whole experience, given that I was like working directly with ownership in almost every case. It was very heavy for me. And I knew that there had to be a better way. And in fact, I was seeing that better way playing out in, other purpose-driven businesses. So for example, Whole Foods is a great example of a national chain, especially in the early 2010 to 2018, 19, during that time period, when I was really impacted, by what they were doing, because they seemed to be doing so much good and making so much money. So I became really fascinated by that. And I did what I do best, which is totally geek out and on all of the things like business, economics, leadership, you name it, I studied it, which I actually did study. I studied economics in college. And one of the facts that always stuck with me, and in fact became sort of a driving force behind, or like as I pursued this whole mission of researching and wanting to understand how businesses could be better. So this fact that stuck with me from my college economics days was a paper published by Nobel Prize winning economist Milton Friedman. So this is a smart guy. And in the 70s, he published a paper in which he said that the sole function of business is to maximize profit, and that any social responsibility beyond maximizing profit equated to socialism. And fast forward a few years later, and Friedman actually kind of recanted and said that, like treating your people well, so being good to your clients and to your employees, was an allowable social aspect of business because it was a means to creating profit. So you were good to your employees and to your customers because it made you profit for no other reason. So anyway, I found that pretty depressing when I first learned it. And but like so many other people, that was the paradigm. That was the paradigm of how capitalism works and how businesses show up. And so many people still unconsciously operate like that because they've never been modeled any other possibility, or they see other models like Whole Foods and they think, well, I couldn't be like that because these are just limiting beliefs, of course. I couldn't be like that because I'm not big. I couldn't be like that because I don't sell products. I couldn't be like that, like all the reasons, right? So I became obsessed with understanding, like, again, this whole idea of like there had to be this better way. And I uncovered this new paradigm. So a shift in the way people thought about business. And this shift says that not only is it possible for businesses to make money and do good, in fact, in the long term, businesses that strive to make as much money as possible while doing as much good as possible are financially better off than businesses that follow that old paradigm where all they're striving for is more financial gain, and anything that happens, any good that they do, is in service to maximizing profits. So it's really just this massive perspective shift that has it. Well, let me rephrase that. A simple perspective shift that has a massive impact on people and planet and on your profits. That's if we're really going to go there. Okay. And that's what I'm all about. So this, as I uncovered and understood more and more of this, I became more certain that this was my calling, to help female founders and business leaders understand there's a better way. And once you understand that, I'm going to help you show up to scale both income and impact. That's what I'm all about. I am all about, and I say female founders, partially because it's a feminine characteristic to stand for the and. Not to say that men can't do it, and I absolutely do not mean that, and I happily work with male clients, but that both and perspective of both income and impact is what's written on my soul. And so if that's something that feels right for you, if you feel like that speaks to you, then please pay attention over the next couple of days, like to my socials, because I'm going to be talking about this more in more lives and really getting this message out there, because it is such a passion for me. Okay, so I'm going to stop that tangent. And today I'm just going to quickly and hopefully succinctly address a question that I often get from prospective clients, which is, how can I or my business create impact and do good when I'm just a coach, a consultant, a service provider, etc. Insert whatever business model or field or however people look at themselves. Again, this real limiting belief that I'm not the right type of business to create impact. Like, oh, those businesses can do that, but I can't. And it blows me away because it's like as if only certain businesses can do good. Like as if only certain businesses can make money. No, they can all make money. So I will agree that there is a scale of impact. So like a massive corporation with tons of employees and a super complex supply chain can possibly create a bigger impact. But ultimately we each have the power and I would say the responsibility to build businesses that create good while making money. And yes, even if you're a service provider in the online space with a tiny remote team, we all have the power and the responsibility to create impact. So here are 3 questions you can ask yourself to answer this question for yourself. Can your business be a force for good in addition to making money? So question number 1, do you utilize resources? So whether that's time, human capital like time and energy, yours and other people's, money, paper, electricity, water, all the resources. Like, do you utilize resources? If the answer is yes, then yes, your business can be a force for good. Let me just answer that question. Everyone is going to say yes to that. Every business in the world is going to say yes to that question. Do you have stakeholders? Employees, customers, clients, vendors, suppliers, contractors, an audience, community, even the environment, like that stakeholder list depends a little bit on your business. But again, if you're a business, then yes, you at least have clients or customers. You at least have somebody who buys your product or your service. So you definitely have a stakeholder, probably several in several different categories. Definitely going to talk more about stakeholders and all of that in another live. So more detail on stakeholders to come. But the third question is really the only differentiating question. So because all businesses utilize resources, all businesses have stakeholders. The third question is, do you want to do more? Do you want your business to be a force for good? Do you want to scale your impact and your income? Because challenging the status quo, shifting paradigms, changing the world is not a journey for the faint of heart. If you can't say yes, like if it's not a full body yes, like yes, I want that, yes, I want to do that, then just stick with the known path, because this journey is not for you. And that's really the only clarifying question that you need to ask yourself to answer the question, can my business be a force for good? So I am super excited to dive deeper into all of this over the coming weeks. And actually, I am hosting a masterclass in a few weeks, and we're going to be covering all of this at a deeper level, and as well as discussing how to actually integrate these concepts into your business. So you can check it out in the link. Check out the link in the comments to register. That would be so great. I would love to see you there. In the meantime, if you have any questions or you want to learn more, comment below or send me a DM. And I'd love to just keep this conversation going. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about it and I love talking about it. So about all of this. So I would love to learn more about you and your business and the things that you struggle with and the things that you aspire to create in your business. I just want to say thank you so much for being here. I hope that you have a great day. And now let's go change the world.